patients about their experiences. And our first speaker is Korey Hazelwood, an airline pilot from Calgary, diagnosed with lung neuroendocrine carcinoma. Korey?
Oh, good morning. Things look a little different from up here for sure. Yeah, my name's Korey Hazelwood. I'm married. I have 3 children. Got 9-year-old twins, a boy and a girl, and a 13-year-old boy. I live in Airdrie, Alberta. Before being diagnosed, I was a 737 captain based in Calgary. For my cancer, I was originally diagnosed with stage 4 lung neuroendocrine carcinoma. Atypical bronchial carcinoid, well differentiated with liver metastases. My Ki-67 was 10% and no carcinoid syndrome. This later changed to high-grade NEC with a Ki-67 of 90%. It took me many years to be diagnosed. I had a number of weird aches and pains. I tried IMS for months to fix a sharp shoulder pain and even had all my wisdom teeth pulled out from constant numbness in my chin and a swollen lymph node. I later got referred to an ENT doctor to get my throat checked. I had a tickle in my throat, which made me cough when I started talking. Then I later got referred to an ENT. Said my throat looked fine, but ordered an x-ray. I got my results from my family doctor, but it was over the phone as I was down in the United States. And he said it looked like pneumonia, that I could get some meds when I came back. But I didn't think that it was pneumonia, so I never got those filled. 6 months goes by, and my cough is very annoying. And I started the referral process to see another ENT. Finally, after about 13 months, I got another x-ray done. And that doctor says, you still have the spot on your lung that you had last year. We need to look into this. I was like, oh, never heard of any spot on my lung before. The original report said that I had pneumonia and redo the x-ray in 2 to 3 weeks. Wow, this was 13 months later, and I'm just hearing about this. So a lesson there is to make sure you always get a copy of a report and review that. So now I was scheduled for my first bronchoscopy. It was December 31st, 2015, making for a stressful time over Christmas. The pulmonologist decided to let me know as soon as I woke up that she was pretty sure that I have neuroendocrine cancer and I have between 1 and 10 years to live. So Happy New Year to me. Needless to say, I was no longer in the partying mood. There's a few things in life that you never forget, and I'm sure you can all agree that being told you have cancer is one of them. You do start to panic, and first you want everything to happen right away. My wife and I were in a mad scramble to learn as much as we could, as fast as we could. I wanted to talk to as many doctors to get help, options, and make sure they all agree on treatments. All doctors agree on how to fix a broken bone, but I would find it's very hard to find 2 doctors to agree on how to treat me. After they found the lymph node in my right lung, they wanted to get a sample of it, so they scheduled another bronchoscopy. Even though they knew roughly where it was, they were unsuccessful. They were not able to find the tumor. I was then scheduled for a mediastinoscopy to see about getting a sample that way, but it was also unsuccessful. I was full of too much inflammation. So after this, an MRI showed a spot on my liver, so they did a biopsy. This confirmed that I had stage 4 lung neuroendocrine carcinoma. They never did get a biopsy of the lung, but I've been told that this type usually does not originate from the liver, so they said the lung was the primary. My oncologist decided to treat my lung first, and after a surgery consult, the risk reward was not there, so they elected to go with radiation. I did 5 days of minimum dose that would still allow for surgery in the future if the radiation did not work. The radiation went well with minimal side effects, and the cough was about 80% better almost immediately. For the liver, they were unable to do surgery because there were too many spots. They were very small but peppered throughout. They started me on lanreotide, 120 milligrams every 28 days. They watched the liver for a few months, being the spots were small, but that had continuous progression. So in January 2017, they started me on CAPTEM. I did this for 12 cycles, 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. For me, the treatment has always been worse than the disease, and you heard about that there this morning as well. This was a rough regimen of 22 pills a day, and I eventually getting to the point I could no longer get myself to swallow them down. A year and a half later, I was doing a bunch of water skiing. So when I felt pain in my hip, I was not overly surprised and basically ignored it. It got progressively worse, and eventually I started to see a chiropractor and massage therapist again, of course, to no avail. An x-ray from my doctor showed a tumor in my left proximal femur bone. So it was time for another surgery. This resulted in a chunk of bone being cut out and filled with what was told as like a plexiglass material, then put a big screw in to hold things in place while it healed. They later followed this surgery up with 5 days of mild radiation to get everything they might have missed. That was in November of 2018. The pathology now is consistent of high-grade neuroendocrine cancer with both small cell lung and large cell neck components. The Ki-67 was over 90%, plus large cell carcinoma. It was non-neuroendocrine and undifferentiated. So in January 2019, the next treatment up was cisplatin and etoposide for 4 cycles due to my new high-grade diagnosis. This was very rough. I was sent home with an oral dose that I was to drink because they were short on IV doses. So they gave me a hazmat suit to wear in case I spilt anything, including glasses and gloves. It was somehow okay to drink, but not okay to spill on my countertop. It was a fairly big amount that I was to drink, and I had to do it for 3 days in a row. After struggling to get it down the first day, the body now knows how bad it was, making the second and third day nearly impossible. Definitely one of the hardest things I've had to do. Always easier sitting in the audience. On one hand, you want to live, but on the other hand, it was so bad and obviously hazardous that the challenge was just about too much. After that, I said, never again. I said, for the next dose, I will fly anywhere that had stock. I'm not going to drink that again. And all of a sudden, the shortage was over. So make sure to voice your concerns. People get scared talking to doctors. They're there to help you, and in a way are working for you. So don't be shy. Say what you do and don't want, or at least what you would prefer. Many people just sit back and blindly obey, thinking they have to do everything they are told. It's okay to question things. I think it's more than okay. It's something you should do. So in March, I did a bland embolization of my liver on the biggest tumor. I feel the chemo and embolization did not work, but my way of measuring is different than the oncologist. They measure things in months, and I want to see it totally gone. My wife, who basically does all my research and networking, was talking to a lady that we met at a conference in Denver. She told us about a place in Vancouver called CTOAM, Cancer Treatment Option and Management. This is a place that will work with your doctors and help find targeted treatment for your cancer. I contacted them in December 2018, but wish I had done so much sooner. They were able to access my biopsy and medical records, and then I did a Foundation 21 test. When we got the results in January, I was told that I had won the genetic jackpot. I had about an 85% chance that immunotherapy would be successful on my liver. Most people with cancer have about 2 to 3 mutations. Well, I have 209. So it was explained to me that by having more mutations, it actually gives me more treatment options, but it also makes me more susceptible to get all sorts of different cancers. So this is not the jackpot I was hoping to win. I just started chemo and didn't want to stop mid-treatment because you only have so many tools in the toolbox. So I decided to wait for the immuno and see how the chemo worked out first. Now, come September 2019, things in my liver were still growing. I had now talked to 7 doctors and asked if I should take this immunotherapy therapy. 6 of the 7 doctors said no, that this would not work. So I had to decide if I should trust a guy that I actually still have never met, or go with the next thing that my oncologist recommended. So Alex, the head researcher there at CTOM, and my oncologist had been talking, and she agreed to try me on immunotherapy after seeing this research. So I did. I was on immunotherapy for 2 years, which is the max the Alberta government would approve. After 1 year, all my liver spots were gone except for one bigger one. This made me a candidate now for surgery. So in December of 2020, during Christmas, and in the middle of all the COVID and restrictions, I had 1/3 of my liver removed, as well as my gallbladder, because it was in the way. For the next 2 years, I had no evidence of disease. I continue with scans every 3 to 4 months to monitor, and was going great until this past December. In December, they found another bone metastasis in the T8 area of my spine, and they also found one growing on my liver again. So back to work we go, figuring out what to do. In March, I did the SBRT, which is targeted radiation on the spine. I had to do more targeted because when I did the radiation on my lung at the beginning of the journey, it hit the vertebrae right above the T8, and I guess that damages the bone marrow, so they didn't want to risk hitting it anymore. So luckily the technology is constantly improving, and they could just concentrate on the T8. And now I'm currently waiting to see when I can get another liver surgery to take care of that spot. They're hoping sometime in the end of June here. They're confident they can do this one laparoscopically, so that's a huge bonus. Now, throughout all this, I've tried a number of other things. I think there's much more to overcoming and dealing with cancer than just the medical side. You need to surround yourself with an entire team, including mental, spiritual, emotional, and physical. You need to keep active, eat well. I think a naturopath is a great place to start. Find the vitamins and minerals that can help the body fight and stay strong. I think too many people rely on just the medical side to fight cancer. You need to take all the negative things out of your life as much as you can. Your body needs all the help it can get. This includes staying positive. Positive attitude can go a long way. Granted, this is a roller coaster ride, and it's not easy to stay positive all the time. I've tried almost every alternative treatment I can find. Vegan for a while, and cut out as much sugar as I can out of my diet. Tried Rife machines, meditate, even learned about grounding, and now sleep with a grounding mat. Different things work for different people, so if you can, try and see what works for you. So that sums up my journey for now. Thanks for this opportunity. Hope you found it helpful.
Thank you so much for sharing your experience with us today, Korey. We really appreciate having you here with us.